Couple weeks into this season, and it's been a movie, a zoovie. And it's got me wondering, could this season be better than 2016? All right, realistically, it's probably not going to be better than 2016. That is solidified as the best season ever. And maybe I did make that as my YouTube title to kind of clickbait you into watching this video, but please stay, I promise it'll be a good video. But for real though, this season has been jumping to start. So many great things. There's so much parity, so many legit contenders, a lot of breakout seasons for young players, players that you wouldn't even think of who are taking leaps. The in-season tournament, I've only seen the first day. The in-season tournament looks like it's going to be amazing. All these things are showing me that it's making out to be a great regular season, and it could, for all we know, go down as one of the best regular seasons of all time, and I'm excited. Quick interruption, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Please, I'm telling you, a like helps and goes a long way. Really trying to make this channel grow, really trying to spread out to more people who are excited about NBA content and who love NBA like me. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment. It really helps the channel grow. Back to the video. It's crazy because on paper, this was probably a lot of people's favorites to make it to the NBA Finals. The Phoenix Suns just added Bradley Beal. The Milwaukee Bucks just added Dame Lillard. These new additions, these new shiny toys look like they're about to make teams who are already good teams even better. So naturally, everyone's excitement, when you get star players, quote unquote, super teams, especially in the Suns case, everyone automatically gets excited and thinks these guys are going to be legit contenders. Let's start off with the Bucks. The Bucks defense does not look great, and I think the head office of the Milwaukee Bucks, the team, the coaching staff, the players, the fans, all underrated what Jrue Holiday brought to the table. A lot of people have expressed their concern about the Bucks defense, and surprisingly enough, I just looked it up. The Milwaukee Bucks are actually ranked 6th in defensive rating. Last year they were 1st. Obviously, there's a drop-off, but 1st to 6th is not a huge gap. They're still the 6th best defensive team in the league. I think the biggest issue is that they now have a defensive liability on the perimeter, whereas a year ago, that was actually a strength of theirs. Teams are now targeting Damian Lillard, pick and roll, trying to get him switched onto them, and they're attacking Dame Lillard, and he's kind of a liability on the defensive end. And not just him alone. I think the biggest concern for me overall is the health of Chris Middleton, and if he is able to stay healthy, to what level can he produce on the offensive end and on the defensive end? Because Chris Middleton is a huge part to this team's success. In 2022, I feel like they didn't win the championship because he wasn't there. He missed time, came back last year, wasn't fully himself, and he's missed time to start this season already. They're going to need Chris Middleton if they're going to win the championship. I think the combination of Dame and Chris Middleton potentially being a liability on the defensive end can really hurt the Milwaukee Bucks come playoff time. Like I said, this is just purely overreaction from what I've seen from the first 2 weeks. For all we know, the Milwaukee Bucks could string off 10 straight wins once they figure out how to get Dame and Giannis playing together. There's still growing pains. It's still a learning process. The Golden State Warriors, when they got KD, they weren't rolling right away. When LeBron James and the Big Three got together, they weren't rolling right away. It's an 82-game season. They got a lot of time to figure it out. I'm more concerned about the Suns than I am with the Bucks. I think the Bucks have a route where they are able to figure everything out, but I think it's scary hours for the Phoenix Suns right now. And I don't mean scary hours as in, oh, they're about to take over the league. No, I mean scary hours as in for the general manager and the organization. Like, they might have screwed up here. They might have screwed up here because they might have just built the most injury-prone super team of all time. I don't know if we'll be able to see these guys play more than 25, 30 games this season. KD already missed time last season. We already know KD's old and injury-prone. It's only the first couple of weeks into the season, and Devin Booker and Bradley Beal have missed significant time already. And to me, I think it's even more significant that this is at the beginning of the season, coming off of an off season where they had lots of time to rest, recover, heal from whatever injuries. If you're starting the season not even playing, that shows me that these injuries are fairly serious. The Suns sacrificed depth to build this super team where your advantage was going to be that you're way more talented than every other team that you're going to face. But if that talent is not able to stay on the floor and play together, then you no longer have that advantage. Now you just have a 35-year-old Kevin Durant out there playing with lower quality players. I really wonder if the Suns factored in injury potential when building this team. I mean, they gave up Chris Paul, who's already injury prone, but Bradley Beal isn't the healthiest guy in the league. He's been injury prone the past couple of seasons. Devin Booker has had his fair share of injuries the past couple of seasons. And Kevin Durant, who's the most injury prone out of all of them, who's in year 17 and age 35, is now out there by himself carrying a load that he shouldn't be. And I just think it's a terrible, terrible sign for the Suns that they're not even able to get playing time together, to get reps together. This is a brand new team, and they're going to need every single second that they can get to learn how to play together, and it's not off to the greatest start. And when you look at championship teams, how many championship teams have started their seasons off like this, where their star players were banged up, they weren't off to the best record? I mean, people underestimate the value of having a good record and finishing strong in the regular season. Are the Suns going to be able to finish 7th or 8th and go through the grueling Western Conference all the way to the finals and win a championship? I doubt it. History tells us that that typically doesn't happen. So it doesn't look good for the Suns right now. That's why I'm out on them. Moving on to a more positive note, a team that I genuinely do believe in, and that's the defending champions, the Denver Nuggets. They have not skipped a beat to start this season. And all that talk about, oh, Bruce Brown this, they're going to miss Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown who? They don't even remember who Bruce Brown is in Denver. They have so much depth, so many players coming up and replacing them, and Jokic is the system. You can get anybody, plug them in there, and Jokic is going to make them look good. Christian Brown is continuing off of his amazing rookie season. Zeke Naji's looking good. Peyton Watson's looking good. Shout out to Julian Strawther. I had no idea who this kid was. Saw him last night play against the New Orleans Pelicans, and he just lit them on fire. That's another young player they have. And the championship core is playing with that championship confidence. KCP, Aaron Gordon looks amazing. Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, and Jokic. Jokic. He continues to get better, and he's right now the MVP. He could win his 3rd MVP, and the way that these guys are rolling, if they continue, and if Jokic wins the 3rd MVP and wins the championship, he'll be sitting on 3 MVPs, 2 championships, 2 finals MVPs, and I think, call me crazy, I think we might have to have the conversation of is Jokic better than Hakeem Olajuwon? Hey, just putting it out there. We might need to have that conversation. The Nuggets look like they're poised for a repeat, but there's only 3 things that can stop the Denver Nuggets from repeating. And number 1, the biggest factor is injury. Injury always comes and sneaks up on you and ruins team seasons. The Denver Nuggets are rolling. Everything looks great. In a perfect world, they'll just smoothly go along in the season, win games, and win a championship. But that never happens. This is the NBA we're talking about. And I don't wish this upon the Denver Nuggets, but from what I've seen over and over again in history is that injuries come and ruin team seasons. Injuries ruin teams' chances of repeating. And I fear that a significant injury to someone on their team is going to stop them from winning a championship. And that really looks like the only thing right now that can stop this team that's rolling. The second thing that can stop the Nuggets is the Boston Celtics. To me, Denver has looked like the best team in basketball, but you can definitely argue that the Boston Celtics are just as good. The Celtics are rolling, man, dropping 150 on teams. They were the only undefeated team until last night. Everything's looking good for the Celtics. I just hope it's not fool's gold and they end up folding in the playoffs. But if this team is for real, I think they can contend and challenge the Denver Nuggets. I think Drew Holiday is as good of a matchup that you can have for Jamal Murray. Potentially, Drew Holiday can just take out Jamal Murray out of the game. I think potentially, call me crazy, I don't know why, but I feel like Al Horford can somewhat be a Jokic stopper if you could even stop Jokic. Like, I feel like body size wise, defensively, I feel like he's arguably probably the best person you can put on Jokic to guard against him. Porzingis gives you that height, 7 feet, can rim protect. If Jason Tatum is able to take his game to another level, I think the Boston Celtics have a legitimate chance against the Denver Nuggets, but it would be a really good matchup. And the third thing that I think can stop the Denver Nuggets is all-time greatness from LeBron James or Steph Curry. Now, hear me out. Yes, the Lakers got swept last year, but can you not admit that each game was very close and down to the wire? So to me, the Lakers aren't that far off from the Nuggets. And that first game of the season, they played the Nuggets very well as you can play them. I think LeBron James was compromised in the playoffs last year. That foot injury didn't allow him to be the best version of himself. And we saw in that last game when he was able to give us something, he kept the Lakers in the game. The Lakers were beating the Nuggets. He just wear down the stretch. So if LeBron James, fully healthy, full of energy, can give you that throughout the series, I think the Lakers are a better team. Even though they aren't off to a great start, I think they'll put it together. I think some all-time greatness from LeBron James with an improved Lakers cast can potentially beat the Denver Nuggets. And moving on to Steph Curry and the Warriors, who are playing sneakily really good basketball right now. They're 6-1. I think they're second or third in the Western Conference right now. Steph Curry's playing out of his mind right now. He's also low-key an MVP candidate. And people forget, the last team to beat the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs was Steph Curry and the Warriors. And Steph Curry is a nightmare matchup for the Nuggets. They do not have an answer for Steph Curry. He's going to go and do whatever he wants against them. And Draymond Green did a pretty good job against Jokic in that playoff series. Like I said about Al Horford, I think Draymond is also one of those guys who could potentially, can't stop Jokic, but can potentially give Jokic the biggest problems that he could see. So I think the Warriors, along with Steph's greatness, I think they could potentially match up well against the Nuggets and knock them off. That's really those three things are really the only hope for the league. Otherwise, the Denver Nuggets are repeating. Another thing that has stood out to me so much this season is the crop of young players just breaking out this year. There's so many good young players. The league is in really good hands. I know we always talk about, man, it's going to be a sad day when LeBron James retires. It's going to be sad when Steph Curry and KD and these guys walk out of the league. But I promise you guys, the league is in good hands. And let's start off with the heir to the throne, Victor Wembanyama. I'm not going to lie, I was very skeptical of all the hype surrounding Victor Wembanyama. I thought there's no way you guys are comparing this guy to LeBron James. There's no way he can be as good as LeBron James. And that's just too much expectations and hype that you're putting on this kid. There's no way he's going to live up to it. Took me a couple games into the season to realize, nope, he's the one. He is the one. Offensively, he's slowly putting things together. He's not as crisp and offensively sound to the NBA game yet. But man, oh man, defensively, he's a beast. Blocking shots. And the thing that shocked me the most, I thought that for sure he'll be a good rim protector, but teams are just going to put him in the pick and roll, put him on a guard. He's going to get blown by. This 7'4" kid is staying with guards and wings. He's quick on his feet. He's able to switch out onto the perimeter, and that's scary. This kid literally can do everything. He has no weaknesses. He can ball handle. He can shoot. He can switch out onto the perimeter. He's literally the perfect NBA body. And I can't wait to see what this kid is going to do. He went back-to-back games against his idol, Kevin Durant. Outplayed him and Devin Booker in the second matchup. Dropped 38 and 10. Won back-to-back games against the Suns, who are people's favorites. The San Antonio Spurs are a legit team. Like, they're not an easy win anymore. The past few seasons, you could go to San Antonio and mark it on the calendar, easy dub. Nope. There's very few easy wins in the NBA. The Spurs are not an easy win anymore, and it's because of Wemby. Second player, Ant Edwards. This is no surprise. I think he was everybody's favorite to have a breakout season this year. That Team USA experience definitely gave him some more confidence. In this short few games, I'm just coming off of watching him against the Boston Celtics, who were undefeated until Ant Edwards went crazy on them in overtime, offensively and defensively, locking up Jason Tatum, stealing the ball, tipping the ball, knocking down clutch shots in overtime. Ant Edwards is here. He's arrived. The question is now, how far can the Minnesota Timberwolves go in the playoffs? I think anything less than the second round is a disappointment. It's early, but hey, man, the Minnesota Timberwolves are number one defense in basketball. Rudy Gobert looks like he's figured it out. Nickel Alexander-Walker is contributing, being one of the best role players in the league. Cat still needs to figure out his role on this team. Maybe Minnesota might be better off trading Cat, but Ant Edwards is here, and I'm just interested to see if he's really going to go into that MVP caliber level this year. Is he going to be top 5, top 4 in MVP this year? That would be the leap I'll be surprised to see from Ant Edwards. Scottie Barnes. This was up in the air. I feel like some people were in the camp where they were like, oh, Scottie Barnes is about to have that year 3 leap. And other people were in the camp of Scottie Barnes is a bust. That Rookie of the Year season had him overrated. And the people who are in the Scottie Barnes breakout camp are looking real smart right now because Scottie Barnes is playing amazing. He surpassed Siakam as the number 1 option on the Toronto Raptors. He's balling. Hit a huge 3 against the San Antonio Spurs, clutch 3 tween, step back. Like, if that's in Scotty's game where he's consistently knocking down jumpers, it's about to be a wrap. He's about to be one of those guys for real. And Scotty Barnes, I'm excited to see what he's going to do in Toronto. And Toronto needs that turnaround ever since losing Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet. A lot of people have low expectations for the Raptors, but I think Scotty Barnes can potentially lead them to be a playoff team. And I think that would be big for Scotty. And last but not least, the player who I did not see coming, Cameron Thomas. Cameron Thomas. Man, is that guy a bucket. I think we all knew he was a bucket, even in his days playing with KD, James Harden, Kyrie, and them, the big three. They talked very highly of him, and you can see in spurts that he was a bucket. And the first couple of games, he dropped 30 pieces. I was kind of like, okay, Sometimes people start off the season pretty hot, but he's kept it up, and he's getting buckets against the best teams in the league. Like, he cooked the Boston Celtics. They couldn't stop him. He dropped like 38 against the Milwaukee Bucks last night. Cam Thomas is for real. And a lot of people thought that it was going to be Mikal Bridges who was going to be the number one option and star player on the Brooklyn Nets. But Cam Thomas just came out of nowhere and stole that spotlight from Mikal, because Cam Thomas is the one. He's the best player on the Nets right now. I don't know what else to say. Just shout out to Cam Thomas. If he can keep this up, can he end up being the leading scorer in the league? I think that would be one of the biggest shocks or biggest surprises. I don't want to say I doubt that he'll do it, but it's not very often that you just see a player emerge out of nowhere and lead the league in scoring. Cam Thomas, let's see how he does. Let's see if he can keep it up. And I'll be watching more Nets basketball because of Cam Thomas. I'm not going to lie. I was super against the in-season tournament. It just didn't make sense to me, because there's no way that this new tournament that you're putting in is going to have any historical significance, and players are just not going to want to play for it. Like, you're telling me that LeBron James is just going to be like, oh, this is going to boost my legacy. This is going to make me the GOAT if I go out and win 3 in-season tournaments in a row. Like, there's just no historical significance. So I feel like there's no motivation for the players to go out and win it. But after watching the first day, I'm starting to buy into it. Aside from the horrible courts, I love everything about the in-season tournament. You could see all the games were very tight and close. You could see that these guys were playing for something. They were playing with a little more pep in their step. And even after the players made comments about it, like Damian Lillard said, I don't know what's going on, but you could definitely feel it out there that it felt like a playoff game. Guys were playing with a lot more intensity. It's new to us, so we don't know how to feel, but you could definitely tell there was more intensity out there, and I love it. That's all we can ask for as fans. For playoff level basketball in November, if it wasn't for the in-season tournament, we're getting a lot of mid-offs, a lot of teams throwing regular season games, not really giving a damn about the regular season. But the in-season tournament is giving players some incentive. I don't entirely agree with it, but I like the suggestion from Tyrese Halliburton where he said, you should make the winner of the in-season tournament get a guaranteed playoff spot. That would really make teams play for it. And I agree. You're telling me the winner of this tournament gets a guaranteed spot in the playoffs? 100% every team is going guns blazing trying to win this tournament. I mean, the $500,000 is cool. Of course, I think the players do want to win some money, but you make it a guaranteed playoff spot, and those teams are 100% giving it their all. Tyrese Halliburton gave out an interesting suggestion where he said they should let the winner of the in-season tournament get a guaranteed playoff spot. While I do like where Tyrese is going with his suggestion, it'll definitely have players really playing in the in-season tournament and really going guns blazing, trying to win the in-season tournament. I do also see the other side where people are like, well, that team, once they win the in-season tournament, they're just going to coast for the rest of the year. But I would suggest instead of a guaranteed playoff spot, what if you gave them guaranteed home court advantage for the rest of the playoffs? So the team still got to play their regular season games to make it in the playoffs. Like, if you win the in-season tournament, but you don't make the playoffs, then you don't get the home court advantage. But if you win the in-season tournament, you still got to play to make the playoffs. There's probably flaws to my idea as well, but I'm just looking at it from a point of, if you don't guarantee a playoff spot, if you just guarantee home court advantage, the teams still have to play to make the playoffs. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to be Tyrese's suggestion or my suggestion, but something along those lines, I agree with Tyrese, will further incentivize and really make the in-season tournament worth playing for. I think my favorite thing about the in-season tournament is that it's going to give us high-level basketball early in the regular season when we'd never see it. Like I said earlier, teams are probably just warming up. just coasting early in the regular season. But now we're getting playoff level basketball in November and December. The biggest thing I like about the in-season tournament is once we get to the knockout stage, we're going to be seeing Game 7 type scenarios, March Madness type scenarios against teams that we wouldn't see play each other in the playoffs. For example, I've been dying to see a Lakers Celtics finals for the past few years. Haven't got it. I've been dying to see a LeBron Giannis finals. Haven't got it. But now with the in-season tournament, we might see the Milwaukee Bucks face the Lakers in the quarterfinals in a winner-go-home situation. That's like a Game 7. We might see KD and the Phoenix Suns go up against Jason Tatum and the Celtics in a Game 7 winner-go-home scenario where we haven't seen them play in the playoffs, or we may never see them play in the playoffs, but the in-season tournament gives us that opportunity. So we get to see high-level matchups, some of the best players in our league go head-to-head in a high-stakes competition. A lot of people always complain about we never got to see a LeBron-Kobe final. What if there was an in-season tournament? Maybe we would have got to see LeBron and Kobe go head-to-head at a winner-go-home situation. That would have been fun. So I love the in-season tournament for giving us that opportunity. I got to give the NBA the benefit of the doubt. I was against the play-in tournament. The play-in tournament has been a success. We've had some super sick play-in games since the inception of the play-in game. It's been successful. So why am I going to doubt the in-season tournament? In-season tournament's probably going to be great too, and it's probably going to be a staple for the NBA for years to come. Going to generate them a lot of money. Going to create more fans, more exciting moments. I'm all for it. The next step for the NBA is fixing All-Star Weekend. They got to revamp All-Star Weekend, get the All-Star game competitive. They did it that one year, that 2020 year in Chicago when it was super competitive. But since then, it's gone back to non-competitive, non-exciting basketball. They got to revamp All-Star Weekend, make it exciting somehow. But I like what Adam Silver and the executives in the NBA are doing. The NBA is heading in the right direction. Well, that sums up my first impressions from the first couple weeks of the NBA season. I'm excited. It's been lit so far. I know it's going to continue to get better. Can't wait to see what this season has in store for us. If you guys like this video, make sure to please like and subscribe. Comment down below for more videos just like this one. Like I said, it really helps the channel grow. Don't be afraid to smash that like button. It's been your boy Hawass, aka the B-Ball Files, signing off.